What's going on, Minnesota Viking fans? Welcome to the Purple People Podcast. My name is Kyle Smith. I am joined by Adam Carlson. What is up, sir? How are you?
Well, the lights in my house aren't functioning properly, so I've got a little bit of a rig set up here, so it looks like I'm a little bit of a ghost, but that's okay. I'm still here.
Well, this is not fun. There's issues with Facebook right now, which really bothers me. Wish that there wasn't. Let's see. We can try and add it on a little bit. Just a second.
Yeah, we can add it in after a little bit. I don't know if we've got anybody watching on YouTube, but we are here, and I was sadly on the road, so I didn't have my usual game set up, but I did watch the game with family in Minnesota because I just got done watching the AEW pay-per-view on Saturday night. I shot up to my cousin's house, and I got to watch this game, and it was nice to watch a Vikings game with my family where the Vikings, I thought, were pretty good.
So I have to put it up front. This is episode number 455 of the Purple People Podcast. This is called Honky-Tonkin Conklin, whatever you want to throw in there, because I love the fact that Tyler Conklin was a factor in this game. Really wanted to do something for Justin Jefferson because he definitely took over. But the main thing I wanted to say was SoFi Stadium is beautiful. I was there in person. The streak continues. I am 4-0 at Vikings games. Adam, you are 7-0 there?
Up a little higher there. I'm at 10-0.
Ooh, okay. So there just seems to be a thing thus far until it's not, and then we'll discontinue.
And West is 1-0 because he was at the same game I was with Washington on Thursday night.
See there. Oh, that was the Christian Ponder shoulder game, wasn't it?
It was.
That's cool. The streak continues for the Purple People Podcast hosts. Very excited. That stadium is the new bar for awesome. And I'll talk about it in a little in depth, but the Vikings won 20-27, and there was really no point in the game where the Chargers looked to be in control or the better team. But coming into this game, they were the better team, and I firmly thought the Vikings were going to take a loss here because of how high flying and pass friendly the offense was, and then the defensive players we had out. But if there was a statement game this year so far, this one was it. And Mike Zimmer can look at everyone with his nose in the air for at least a couple of days and be like, hey, I still know what I'm doing.
If you had read my 3 reasons the Vikings would beat the Chargers, you might have gotten a little bit of insight on it.
You know what? We can do the shameless plug now, and we'll do it again later. If you go to thevikingage.com, you can find these articles here that Adam writes, and they are splendid, let me tell you. And you know what? I'm still going to go back on it. You were very kind to that gentleman earlier, but there was a guy who was very rude to Adam. And he got this article right, and it was so funny because he was mad about something he had no reason to be mad about. But you can dig through a couple of recent episodes to hear about that.
That was fun. That was fun. Absolutely. But today was fun, too, because I got to write about Patrick Peterson's little WWE-style promo teasing a return to the football field. And I got to say, it got me excited.
It got me jacked, man. We need him for Packer week, and the Packers are hot right now. Aaron Rodgers is back from the COVID protocols, and this is the game every year, twice a year. We need you, Pat Pete. Let's go.
Now, and the Vikings on Sunday, they were without quite a few starters. Of course, we all know Danielle Hunter's on IR, but Michael Pierce being out, Barr being out. Of course, Patrick Peterson is eligible to return this week from short-term IR, and Harrison Smith was still not in action. So this is a unit that was pretty banged up going up against a very explosive, dangerous offense that has been tearing other teams apart, and Minnesota got stuff done.
They did. That was the reason why I had no optimism. Obviously, the offense was a little shaky this year up until this point. You know, we're 9 games in, 10 weeks into the season. But the offense did what they needed to do. They had a little change. They were still stagnant at times, which is to be expected. But at the end of the game, they put their foot on the gas. They played a little less conservative, a little more edgy. And the defense, good Lord, I'm looking at the stats here. Justin Herbert, 195 yards total passing. Terrible
Did it
QBR.
feel like their offense was struggling that bad with the pass when you were there?
You could see that the top wanted to be open and they wanted to go that route, but it just wasn't happening for them for whatever reason, whether the coverage be it or the pressure. And I think the pressure was the key of this game because with Danielle Hunter out, you're relying on Everson Griffin, who had a very tall task against Rashawn Slater, I think is their tackle's name. He's a very,
Yeah.
very good tackle. But it opened up lanes and creative ways to get pressure too, which will lead me shortly into my game ball here, but go ahead. Sorry, Ryan. I'm not going to throw the F-bomb out just out. If you're watching on YouTube, you can read it. Is there any way we can have Smith, Woods, Peterson, and Bynum at the same time?
And yes, I could see them playing Bynum at safety in place of a linebacker in that defense, especially for run control and to help against the pass. And the Vikings do have decent backup linebackers. They still don't have the depth that I wish they had. Right. But as a whole, I mean, Bynum has played 2 games for Minnesota now, and he's looking really, really good.
He gets my game ball this week, and strictly on the fact that one pass breakup and the one pass defense that he had was in the end zone at the corner. Definitely saved a touchdown there. But he had 6 tackles for the day, which was tied for second, 5 by himself, 1 sack, a tackle for a loss, a pass defended, and a quarterback hit. This is a rookie filling in for the GOAT at safety, or at least our recent GOAT at safety. And he's playing very, very well. And to your point, Ryan, I don't think they would do this, but if they had to in a pinch, he did play corner in college. So if you had Peterson and Bynum at corner and you had the other 2 safeties.
Which is why he would be a perfect candidate to move over to play a little bit of nickel if they can't afford to bring back Mackenzie Alexander.
The other point, too, I want to make on Twitter that was out there was saying, well, why do we overpay for Harrison Smith? We have this kid. Do not get excited over 2 games that high. Now, I am very happy with this play. Don't you dare discredit Harrison Smith like that. I will find you and mail poop to your mailbox. Don't do that to him, all right? If this is called depth, you can have 3 guys. It's
Do you remember how excited we got over what the hell was his name? Anthony Harris. And Anthony Harris looked very good for a while.
Yes, he did.
And then there was that drop off, and he's kind of disappeared from the NFL.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything from my buddy Dave, who's a diehard Eagles fan like we are Viking fans, and I've heard not one mention of his name and anything like that. So, yeah, we can have all 3. I said this on Twitter. There's no reason that you can't keep all 3. I think Xavier Woods has played up to this point very well.
See Woods back.
Yeah, come on back. And yeah, not yet. Almost. That's a good point. Not yet, at least. Yes. You know, right his extension out. Maybe you cut him a year early, but he still plays at a very high level. Is he the highest he's ever played at his high level? No, I think this season there's been a little drop, and last year.
Well, but Bynum's only in the first year of his rookie contract, too. They got a hold of him for a while.
Yeah, you got him for another 3 seasons after this one. So
keep evaluating him, keep letting him learn and develop, because he's got those instincts.
And you know what you could do if Harrison Smith comes down to that point where he needs snap counts like Everson is supposedly supposed to be on? He can start because he rightfully has earned that starting job, but you can rotate Bynum in.
Right?
You're going to rotate him in anyways because Harrison's not going to play every single snap on defense. So I like that kid. He gets my game ball. What say you, Adam?
Well, there's some options we could go here. It'd be fun to give it to Mike Zimmer just for being a bit more aggressive here. And he was more aggressive than even the stat sheet will show because he tried going for that fake punt and it got absolutely destroyed by the referees.
It was bad. I like the idea of it, though.
I was psyched to see that they were going to go for it, but you can't come back from having that play stopped and then do it again. You can't do that. I get that, but I would have liked to have seen if Kenny could have made that corner.
It would have been fun.
I think he could have.
I do too. I think that he could have, but you know what that tells me to your point about Zimmer? He's listening. He knows he can feel the pressure. Now, this is
Kirk's listening too. Did you see him on the sideline? He was taking some gambling 50-50 balls every time. Any time that Justin Jefferson had one-on-one coverage on the outside, he had no problem hoisting it up on the sideline to where he knew it would only be one-on-one.
I shared some videos, one in particular with you guys, and I don't think I posted it to the page, but from last year when they played the Texans. That's the Jefferson coming out party, I believe. Or no, it was the week after because they played the Titans the week before, and he had the cool blown touchdown with no one around. But Kirk throws a ball to him last year to the left side of the field, and the ball's in the air before he even turns around. And his ability to make adjustments are second to none. If there's at least a 25 to 30% chance he can get to it, there's a good percentage he's going to come down with it. And that happens so much in this game. Once the offense started opening up and taking those shots and finding the mismatches or the matchups that they wanted, like you said, being one-on-one, Justin Jefferson took over the show. The energy from him was out of this world in there. And shout out to the 50%, it looked like, of Viking fans at this game, because there were a lot where I was sitting.
Did you have any feel like Justin Jefferson made this a bigger game in his head because he was not named Offensive Rookie of the Year?
I gave my brother crap for that. Shout out to my little brother, John Mark. I love him to death. He's my best friend. He's been a diehard Chargers fan because he loves Phillip Rivers, kind of like I like Favre and Adrian, and just stayed with this team. He stayed with LA, got the boy wonder at quarterback. But I told him that today. I said, hey, you've had time to process the loss. I didn't want to be a douche to you while you're kind of sad, because he was on a high touring the stadium, But I was like, I think we settled the Rookie of the Year debate. What do you think? And he got so defensive.
Oh, boy.
He's like, no, there's no way. He's like, he broke records. I was like, and correct me if I'm wrong, Adam. You've seen this stat too. Jefferson was overall the number 2 PFF graded wide receiver last year. I was like, your boy wasn't top 5 in that. Yeah, he had a really good rookie year. Justin Herbert is a legitimate threat at quarterback, but
I lost a little more faith in PFF this week, though.
Yeah, that's a good point. We need to talk about that, because Eric Kendricks had himself a day, and you can have highs and lows, in my opinion, and still have a day.
He struggled a bit in run support, which I get knocking him for that a little bit, but in pass coverage, he was great.
He was all over people, all over those tight ends, and I'm gonna say this, and I will put it up on whatever you guys swear to or whatever thing you gamble on. Shout out to my buddy James Hart. I'm gonna give a little promo shout out here. Even they're not paying, but I want you to spend your hard-earned money and time. 18 Visions is the metal band, or the old rock band Burn Halo. He's my favorite vocalist. He's my one and only rock star friend. He came out to the game with me, had a blast. I haven't seen him almost 10 years, and diehard Chicago Bear fan. So we had a lot of fun talking about the North, but sat with me, and I looked at him and was like, I can feel a turnover coming. And not even 3 seconds later, swear to it on my life, it happened. And he just did that slow turn. He's like, we should go to the casino. I was like, yeah, we should leave right now. So, I love Eric Kendricks, and it sucks what's happened to Anthony Barr, because he's kind of a shell of himself now, but Eric Kendricks is the man, and he's still a force to be reckoned with at linebacker. He's so underrated.
And you're my rock star friend.
Hey, thank you. I have good news later. We can promote later at the end of the show.
But we got to talk about another Mike Zimmer decision and why he is getting my game ball. And it is for putting his foot on the throat of the Chargers and going for it on 4th down and securing the game rather than punting it back, putting trust in his offense and Kirk Cousins to finish off the game. It was absolutely something that Vikings fans have wanted to see for a while. It finally happened. And if they hadn't converted it, I still would praise that decision.
Yeah, James and I were talking about it, because I believe with the 3rd down going into 4th, there was a break. Maybe it's a commercial break. It was towards the end of the game. And I think this was the second Conklin touchdown, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was had no business catching that. It was almost a desperation play. But yeah, we were talking about, he's like, do you go for
I wasn't even talking about that one.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. This was when they were in field goal range.
Yeah, with what was it, 2:20 something left in the game?
Yes, this is what we were talking about there. He goes, all right, dude, you're the coach. Do you go for it? And Greg Joseph, I love you, man. If you listen to this, no disrespect. But I was like, no, I don't trust the kicker. And I'll tell you why. I'm glad you brought this up. It made me think of it. In warmups, Greg Joseph missed more kicks than he made. I was legitimately worried. He was banking everything the right the entire day in warmups. And I'm talking about from 25, 35 yards out and beyond. He was not good in warmups. So I said, hey, no, don't leave it to the kicker. I've seen this go bad so many times. Like, let's just go for it. You've got to go for it, And
do you really want to give a Chargers offense that just picked up a couple big penalties on pass interference calls and are explosive enough to make big plays, and the Vikings defense was tired and gave up a big play with a miscommunication? And it's like, at this point, you trust your offense to get out there and get things done. You put some faith in Kirk Cousins, and honestly, after the day Kirk had, with getting that nod of acceptance from his coach to go for it, and Justin Jefferson having his big day, this team has to feel good. And Kirk has to feel a bit more confident in throwing that longer ball or being in clutch situations, because the one mistake Cousins made in this game, it wasn't really on the Chargers defense. Sure, they got pressure, but it was Brian O'Neill that knocked the ball out of Kirk Cousins' hands.
Yeah, that was Brian O'Neill didn't have the best day I've ever seen from him, but much like Oli Udoh, he has bad days too.
Oli Udoh, wow. He needs to settle down because he is struggling. We saw so many stupid penalties. What was it? 2 hands to the face? And 2 of them on offense, right? Or was it 1 on offense and 1 on defense?
I know there was at least one on offense, which is really weird. I think they were both on offense.
Because I know one was on Everson Griffin, I think.
Oh, that's right. Wasn't intentional. So maybe it was 1-1. But yeah, that's a perfect segue. He's going to get.
They gave up 190 yards of passing or whatever, and they gave up almost 110 yards on penalties. So
it was rough. There was some DPI, which I could see if you pick Breland. I wanted to go with Mackenzie Alexander. He did not have a good day, but I'll go with Oli Udoh because it's about time to where if he's healthy, I say you throw in Wyatt Davis and see what happens.
Well, there's an interesting situation here because Cole has been playing pretty well at center. And the Vikings have already said that they might consider swapping out. So maybe they'll try that situation again, like they did with their previous center who didn't work out, by moving him to guard for a little bit.
Well, if he can not get bulldozed and being moved out of center, that's Garrett Bradbury's weakness, getting bulldozed. We've seen it 100 times. And I'm not knocking him at all. I respect the guy. And
it's a tough gig. And some of those defensive tackles, so big and strong.
They're so massive, some of them. But yeah,
Linval Joseph this week, and
it was nice to see him too. Nice to see a former Viking out there.
I still respect the heck out of him.
He's massive. I saw him out on the field, man. He was a big dude. But
speaking of, this is nothing to do with Vikings, but I want to bring this up. I've been watching football almost every week with my nephew. Right, he'll come over. We'll watch games together.
How old is
he? He's 18 now. He just graduated this year, and he wanted to start getting into football. And he loves watching Tampa Bay Buccaneers games. And do you know why?
All the D linemen.
Vita Vea.
Of course, man. That dude is a wrecking machine. Oof.
He said, I don't even watch the quarterbacks, and I don't watch anything else. I watch him. I just watch him throw guys around.
Tell him to watch Ram games and watch Aaron Donald just beat the shit out of everybody, too. Those 2 guys are amazing.
Yeah, we tried that in the Rams games we watched. The Rams got destroyed.
Of course. I did not see the Niners winning last
night. I'm waiting for Michael Pierce to come back. Was it 6 weeks in a row now? He's been unable to play.
And he's on IR. So at minimum, let's see, we have Green Bay, San Francisco, maybe Detroit. So after the Detroit game, he could come back possibly. Armand Watts and Tomlinson and those guys are doing a fine job. It's just that
they're rotating Richardson in well.
Yeah, very, very good signing. That was the underrated signing of the year, in my opinion. You just see a difference when Pierce is out there, man. When he's played this year, he's definitely made his presence known. So
I saw some weird stat about the investments they made in Barr and Pierce and how much they actually got to see them play since their signings, and it's not pretty.
Oh, yeah. I think Barr's done. I'm sure he'll sign somewhere else, but he's a shell of himself now. But Michael Pierce, they definitely want to see the upside of keeping him, bringing him back. I think he's on a multi-year deal anyways. But no Anthony Barr again. That's tough, man.
Yeah, but I think you're right. I think Udoh is probably the most deserving of the Donkey Award this week because honestly, I just felt like he had the weakest performance. Part of me is kind of wondering if we've seen the best days of Adam Thielen, because he hasn't looked like the Adam Thielen that we know.
I'm glad that you said that because I listened to Locked On Vikings and someone brought this up. And at the game, they were stuff you can't see on television. Adam Thielen was open most of the game. Yeah, he has a couple of, batted passes or maybe has a drop here or there. But I think Adam Thielen is still at the very edge of the bubble of his prime. But yeah, he was open on quite a few plays that Kirk was feeling a little bit of pressure. So he did his usual thing where he's all right, I'm going to check down and do the safe throw, whatever. But especially early in the game, there was one that was an obvious touchdown.
But it hasn't even been just this game. It's been a couple of games now where Thielen just hasn't gotten that involved. I mean, last week, you wouldn't even have known Thielen was on the field if he didn't catch that touchdown.
That's true. I don't take it back. I don't put it past too much, too, because I just saw him in Carolina, even a month ago, and he dominated that game. So, and they have good corners there.
It's a little bit of a slump then?
I think it just comes week to week, man. Honestly, I think it's just who can you take advantage of, because there's very few teams that have the two corners that are just going to shut both of those guys out. Yeah. And it just so happened that, and I told my brother about this. He goes, well, yeah, of course, Justin Jefferson had a great day. He was on like a second or third string corner. I was like, well, that's your coach for being an idiot. You don't put your number one corner on Thielen. You put him on Jefferson. Jefferson's clearly the number one receiver on this team. And that's no disrespect to Adam Thielen. It's 1A and 1B. But if that's what it's going to be, then, hey, Adam would take that all day as long as we get a win, I'm sure. But
that
I don't
division
think so.
From 1A and 1B, he feels like it's getting wider.
I'll wait and see. I still think Thielen will surpass or get close to 1,000 yards. He'll still catch a lot of touchdowns. I just think Jefferson's just too good not to, especially with the contested catches, man. He can go up and moss some people, and if you can do that, I mean, that's scary. Any corner is going to hate that idea. That
so I have another weird question for you.
Sure.
With a 17-game season, where do you put the benchmark for a good receiving season? Do you still leave it at around 1,000, or is that really old school?
I'm going to keep it at 1,000 for this reason alone. With an extra game, you still have an extra chance for injury, and they're eventually going to go to an 18-game season, and you're going to have 2 buys. Then we can talk about going up to, like, let's say 1,150. You know, that seems reasonable. But if you still get 1,000 yards and you have one,
what are we going to do when Cooper Kupp gets 3,300?
And OBJ gets 600 for the year?
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, it's fun. Yeah, I think 1,000 is fair. It's good there. What I think the better, not the better. I don't want to discredit your question. I think that the reasonable argument on the other end is we just have it in your head that these records are going to get broken. They maybe
every one of them's going to get shattered.
But still, like, you know, Dalvin's going to get 1,000-yard rushing. That's awesome. He's not going to play the whole season. He never does play a full season, but base it on 1,000. If we need to adjust or we start to see the average go up, we'll put it to 1,100 or 1,200. But 1,000 yards receiving still pretty good.
Do you think players that had older contracts with escalators based on performances really loved adding that extra game to the season?
Well, look at like a guy like Cam Newton. You know, he gets signed off the street. His energy brings the team back. They beat a good Cardinals team that's injured, and now they're in the playoff hunt. What if he gets in and the incentive is, well, what if you make it to a certain round of the playoffs? Well, there's an extra $1 million on your contract.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. Or the touchdown. Like, I know a lot of quarterbacks, receivers, whatever, the offensive guys, based on numbers, like you hit a certain benchmark of 750 receiving yards and 5 touchdowns, you get an extra 2 million, whatever. I mean, why not? I'm sure they're pumped. Some of these guys don't want that, though. That's the most interesting part of this conversation. Some of these guys are pissed. They're like, dude, this season's so long anyways. You added another game. It's wild.
Yeah, a lot of the stars got to sit out that extra preseason game, so being on the field a little bit more.
I'm sure, thinking about it now, to keep on that question, I'm sure the veteran guys are probably like, this is stupid. And the guys that are fighting for spots are like, add 5 more games.
Yep.
I like money and I want an opportunity. And the veteran guys are like, can we have another bye, please?
Yeah, Kirk may not have gotten sacked, or had a lot of problems with the pressure getting to him, but he was pressured often.
Yes, he was.
And he got that ball out. There were defenders around him really often. The worst was when they forced him to roll out to his left, and that just made a big old mess. Yeah,
that was scary. That was Brett Favre reminiscent. So I was like, please don't throw it across the field. Jesus Christ, don't throw it across your body. Yeah, I've said this many times, and I said it to some of my friends who ask about Kirk because they're like, your team's really weird, man. Like, they're good some days they're terrible. And it's like, what do you think of Kirk? I'm like, Kirk is what he is. If everything's perfect, he'll expose you. If there's a mismatch in the defense, he'll expose you. His ad-libbing scares the shit out of me. I don't like it. He's not the most athletic. He's not Kyler Murray, but I like what he did. He finds the hole. He will find the one hole, and if it's not there, Usually now, he's made very good progress since being a Viking. He doesn't make a bonehead play. I mean, the guy's got 18 touchdowns and 2 picks.
You also like Kirk's taste in pizza franchises.
Ugh. We have to bring him in at least once a show.
Got to do it. But yeah, coming into this game, I had the Chargers as a loss. I mean, before the season, even the week before the game, in my pick'ems with my friends, I picked the Vikings to lose. And they came out, and once again, they hung with them. But it was really strange it felt strange that they didn't get that touchdown on the opening drive after being so successful every other week with it.
And I was patient with that too, because if you wanted anything to change, you wanted scores later in the game. You know what I mean? Force turnovers early, but get points whenever you can later, because the Vikings they start at the mountaintop at the chart this year and they score often, and then it just goes down real fast. So I was happy to see him score in the fourth quarter. I think they scored in the third. I won't do too many stats, but Greg Joseph was awesome this day. 2 for 2 and then 3 for 3.
The most impressive stat for me for this game was the time of possession. Minnesota dominated time of possession.
Yeah, it was great, and it was thanks to the offense, who's been really terrible most of the year.
And it allowed a fresh defense to get out on the field and make plays. It was completely different from the Ravens game.
Yeah, and it's crazy looking at the Ravens and the Chargers have played each other, and they absolutely smoked the Chargers. So I'm sure there was a little blueprint there, but just getting pressure, getting in the face, and having good sticky coverage. I think the middle of the field was covered very well. There was not a lot of big, deep plays, which was really fun. I'm glad there wasn't that huge, long ball to Mike Williams.
Right.
That was something good that Chris Sims brought up. I was like listening to Chris Sims after a Vikings win. He's like, you know what I like? The Chargers receivers. It's a lot like the Vikings receivers. They're very good tandem, but there's no Tyreek Hill on either one of these teams. There's nobody to like break open the top and make you worry about that. He's like, so I think Minnesota did what they did with the players that they have, which are second and third string guys, because they didn't really have that deep threat as far as like speed. If you have a busted coverage, of course the guy might get through, but shout out to these backups stepping up, man. This is a very good game plan and good coaching, good execution, and I like the attitude of this game.
The game plan the Vikings drew up offensively was exactly what they needed to do. The Chargers were dead last in yards per rush given up. They came out, they had Dalvin power through. He picked up about 5 yards a carry, and then they used that to set up the play action. And between runs and play action, that was a majority of their plays on the day. And that kept the Chargers defense on their toes. They didn't know what to do.
Dalvin Cook, 24 carries, 94 yards, and a touchdown, long of 12, 3.9 average. You'd like to see it in the fours, but it is what it is. It was an efficient day from him. He's back in the top 5, even after missing 2 games of rushing on the season. Not a lot of touchdowns this year for him, but I mean, the offense has been underwhelming, but yeah, he's getting his yards back. Another stat too, just for you, for Kirk Cousins, 25 of 37, 294, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He did have 2 sacks. One of them was completely unavoidable. Like it's going to happen either way, but
yeah,
he's got a good rating yet again. And I like the fact that he's taking care of the ball, man. No stupid interceptions.
Now, does the fumble count as a sack?
Let's look and see. I'm on this page. I need to get team stats. Let's go over there.
Because I think they might have credited the fumble of Kirk Cousins to Bosa as a sack fumble.
Fumbles lost. Minnesota won. Let's go to their team stats and see. Let's see if box score. Here we go. Sorry about that. Let's go to sacks 2. They're counting the Joey Bosa 1, and then who's the other guy? I'm not even going to attempt that name. Amon Alphabet. Mr. Alphabet. Oh, that's funny.
So yeah, that was one of the sacks. So I think for the most part, the Vikings line did a good job of containing what I consider to be an above average pass rush. They got some good, talented players there on their D line.
That defense
and they
as
can
a whole
rush from the
really
edges.
Good. Yeah, that defense as a whole is really good. That secondary is scary. You got Asante Samuel, Derwin James. They got the guy from Denver. What's his name? Chris Harris Jr. They have a stacked secondary.
So true.
Going down the list for receiving, Justin Jefferson had himself a day. 11 targets, 9 receptions, 143 yards.
Yeah, he entered top 10 in the NFL now in receiving yards. So he should just keep climbing as long as they keep feeding him.
As long as he can find ways to get open and do his little shimmies, he's very good with that. And then just throw those one-on-one. If he's one-on-one, give him a chance.
I know who he's been watching tape on, though. Another former Viking who loved pointing for first downs.
Who's that?
Former Cincinnati Bengal.
Jerome Simpson.
Yeah, that's him.
Mr. I do a front flip in the end zone. That was infamous. Jerome Simpson, shout out to you as a Viking. You were the guy who got the most yards, but not from catching the ball, but from penalties. Good Lord, he could draw some good PI.
He really could.
I love that guy. Adam Thielen had 5 receptions on the day for 65 yards. Shout out to Tyler Conklin, 3 receptions, 11 yards, and 2 tutties. Man, had to name the episode after Tyler Conklin, man. What a grinder that kid is.
Part of me was really sad that I was at my cousin's house in Duluth and CJ Ham caught that pass in the end zone and it didn't count.
Dude, it was so close. So close. I was very calm for this game, too. I thought it'd be high spirits, whatever, but it started out kind of slow. And then once the Vikings started taking the time of possession, I was like, I think we have a chance to win this game as long as they don't do anything stupid. James Lynch also very productive that day. 4 tackles, 3 by himself. Who else was up there? Blake Lynch. That's who I'm thinking of. 6 tackles, 4 by himself. Cameron Bynum, I already gave my ball away for him. Eric Kendricks, sack, tackle for loss, pass defended, and a cornerback hit. He led the day with 8 total tackles. Good day.
Apparently he was not good.
Yeah, it was terrible. Thanks, PFF.
Not good.
There was a D.D. Westbrook sighting, by the way. 3 punt returns, long of 23, or I'm sorry, long of 45.
I was so sad they couldn't do anything off that really nice return he had. It seems like Minnesota still can't capitalize when they're given fantastic opportunities. But if you pin them back in their own zone, they can chip their way up, and it's so odd.
Dude, it happened with the Eric Kendricks interception. They had great field position, even though they called him down, which I think is a horseshit rule.
Oh,
just because somebody gets touched doesn't mean he actually made him go down. But that's it's another thing. But they had great field position there, and they're backed up like 1st and 20 for some holding calls. Like,
right.
Got to get these penalties out of the way. But overall, I mean, I think I don't want to call it a statement win. This isn't a Super Bowl team, but this is a playoff team in the AFC. I think they're going to make the playoffs. They beat
this is a really good team the Vikings just defeated. A team that will be a part of the playoffs. And next week, it's going to be another really tough one.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because according to something, did we have this in the chat or did I find it somewhere and didn't save it? The Vikings going forward have the 5th easiest schedule as of right now.
Really?
So they do. You have
it wasn't that long ago. I thought, what was it, 3 weeks ago? They said they had like the 5th or 6th toughest.
Yeah, based on where everyone is projected now. Yeah, they have the 5th easiest. Green Bay has like the 7th because they got us twice, but we have Chicago twice, Detroit once, San Francisco doesn't have a winning record, and Pittsburgh just tied with Detroit, which was a terrible game. So what's up, Andrew?
He was watching that game on his phone, like looking up and down from between the Vikings game and the Lions game. He's like, are they actually going to win?
You know what's terrible about it? That game was dreadful from what I heard, just because it was back and forth, but it still wasn't as bad as the Seahawks performance. Russell Wilson's got to be gone out of that place after this year.
And the whole game, my nephew's watching that Lions game. He's like, Jared Goff is terrible.
He sucks.
I'm like, I know.
he's so bad. Poor guy. Ugh.
I honestly believe the Lions would have 3 or 4 wins right now if they had almost any other quarterback.
I know there's a guy in LA they should trade for, man. He's really good. I think he'd fit great there. This could work. What do you mean, Andrew? What could work? Tell us more. I need context.
I want to hear about this work.
Yeah, I want to hear what works. We're here for it. Don't make us work, though. We don't like that. The Vikings have the 5th easiest going forward. They have, I believe, a home game since they had 2 away games just now. Home game against the Packers is going to be really important. if they can somehow squeak out a win this week and then
Now,
next week.
I will say one thing about that Vikings-Packers game coming up.
Yep.
If I see U.S. Bank Stadium full of green and gold again, I'm going to be one really mad guy.
Yeah, we can't let that happen. That place is going to be on fire anyways because it's the biggest game of the year at home. So don't sell your tickets to Green Bay fans if you can't go.
Absolutely.
Back to the Future quote. Hey, good job. That's good.
I'll take it.
Sorry, I didn't pick that up. Shame on me.
I also did not. It's been a while.
Yeah, they have a chance. This is what this team does. They're going to give us hope and get crushed again, I'm sure. But it's what they do. But they do have a good chance. San Francisco showed last night they are going to be tough. But I like the Vikings' chances against any team in U.S. Bank. And the good thing about that is you still have Green Bay at home, Chicago at home. I believe the Steelers at home. Yeah, we have a lot of home games. Green Bay.
Wait, isn't Detroit at home too?
I think that's away.
Oh. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. All I remember is that ball bouncing off the crossbar for the Lions.
Oh, man. That's such their luck. All right, let's see. I'm pulling up the Vikings schedule now. So at home, we go to the 49ers. That's going to be tough. Okay.
I still don't trust in Jimmy G. I know he can have good games, and that was a good one that he had. And he automatically gets a lot better when Kittle comes back to play football. That's 1,000% true.
That guy's a stud. Making Von Miller look old and decrepit last night.
He did.
So we got the Packers at home, 2 away games, at the 49ers, at the Lions, Steelers at home, at the Bears, home against the Rams, at Green Bay, and then Bears at home to round out the season. So the opponents, I think the Bears are not what they used to be. I like Fields a lot. I think he's a nice little piece. I just don't trust that coach. That coach sucks. Detroit, don't trust. They'll be tough, but I still don't trust them. The Steelers are terrible. Big Ben he should have retired last year. The Vikings have a chance, but they're going to have to play a game every time they play these opponents like they did yesterday. So it's all
on your calendar, though. The one Lions win this year is going to come against Denver.
Oh, you're calling it?
I've been calling it.
All right. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
I've been calling that one. So I did read something that I kind of don't understand, but I wanted to mention because the home of the Vikings, U.S. Bank Stadium, was apparently part of the broadcast of The Bachelorette tonight.
That's weird.
So that's kind of cool. They had guys dressed up as Vikings, and they were talking about U.S. Bank Stadium and Skull and everything. And that's about all I know. I don't know what it was used for because I don't watch that program. But those of you who do watch The Bachelorette got nice little Vikings content in there.
Well, that's odd and random, and I don't know why. But hey, that's cool. Hopefully a Vikings fan wins. That's cool.
That is pretty neat. Do you know what else is kind of neat? The 3 people that were eliminated from the Survival League this week.
Who got them their defeat and their exit out of the league?
2 people picked the Ravens and 1 picked the Steelers.
Oh, I would have. In fairness, I would have picked the Steelers too.
Each of those picks is fun. I would have switched my pick off the Steelers once Big Ben was ruled out.
And we didn't forget about Thursday night. Didn't think the Miami Dolphins would beat the Ravens.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely.
Thank you, Mike Gesicki and whatever the running back's name is for getting me 5 total points.
Myles Gaskin.
Oh, they hurt me so bad in fantasy.
But we do have a Survival League now that's looking a little thin. We should have a winner maybe within 3-4 weeks. Because we have 6 active players left. Ain't Throwing Darts is leading the way, and they still don't have a strike.
Is that you, Andrew? He said he stands alone.
We have 3 players left with 1 strike. Aussie Viking, Jake 94, and the Zim Reapers are there with 1 strike. And finally, on the ledge, we've got Logan's legit pick set and the mind-blowing Vikings picks with 2 strikes each. It's getting down to the nitty-gritty, guys. Your picks are more important than ever. Make sure you get them in.
I'm glad Adam's here this week, and we didn't have to have Andrew remind me and Kyle like you did last week to look at the Survival League.
When you're on top, you definitely throw that reminder out there.
Hey, I like it, man. Yeah, this is when, as a Vikings fan, my picks fall to shit. Andrew, we're glad you're here, man, and we're glad that you're here to provide entertainment. And thank you for updating and reminding us. That's good. But yeah,
But
the
yeah,
Vikings win. The
excited
streak
about that upcoming
continues.
game. The Packers game's going to be a tough one. Once again, I'll probably circle this one as a loss, but until the Vikings can prove to me that they can consistently play good football, I won't have them beating a lot of the really, what I consider to be really best teams in the NFL at this point. But we've seen way too many upsets this year to even start thinking about a team just absolutely being dominant and teams having no chance because, man, some of the upsets this year have been absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah, the Jets beating the Bengals and the Titans. Never saw that coming. Didn't see the Dolphins beating the Ravens.
I didn't see the Jaguars beating the Bills this year.
I didn't see the Washington football team destroying the Buccaneers. A little revenge game for playoffs last year and Taylor Heineke.
Yeah, a lot of those picks in survival or your pick'em leagues or whatever. I bet this is 1 year where people have just been getting destroyed.
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, Vikings win. The streak continues. Very excited. Got to see that. I wanted to mention SoFi Stadium did a tour. Cool thing about that place, if you guys didn't know, it's an open indoor stadium, if that makes sense. That big awning is not connected to the actual stadium bowl itself. And there's a big concrete barrier around the edge that goes pretty deep for earthquake purposes because, you know, they're near a fault line in California. But it is state of the art. The tour was excellent. We got to see lots of great seats, and we got to tour. Here, just a heads up, if you are listening to the show and for some reason you're a Rams or a Chargers fan, go on a weekend when your team is away. Like, for instance, this weekend, it was a Chargers game. If you're a Rams fan, would have been great for you because you get to tour the other locker room. They have 4 locker rooms, 2 home, 2 away, and we got to tour the Rams locker room. I got to see Von Miller and Matthew Stafford and Aaron Donald's locker, which is really cool. Walking on the field, that big jumbo screen that hovers around that looks like a spaceship is absolutely unreal. When we got to the game before it started, they had a bunch of the NFL games up for us to watch because West Coast time.
This week or last week that they showed the little office that Mike Zimmer got in the locker room to use?
It was this week. It was like a broom closet.
It was. That was ridiculous.
With how great that stadium is, they did that on purpose, and I laughed really hard. That's a good troll job.
Oh man.
I wish Heineken was still our backup. Yeah, me too, man. Taylor Heineke's a good kid. He's just a baller. He's not gonna like wow you, but that kid's got heart for sure.
I still got hope that Mond can step up and do something. I'm not optimistic about it, but I'm hopeful.
Mond is a quarterback on the Vikings. You're correct.
He is on the roster. They also have another quarterback on the roster that I hope never has to take a snap.
Yeah, hopefully never. Ugh. Oh God, I'm not gonna say
but
that. But
we did get to see. Didn't Trevor Siemian start this week again and play pretty well?
Yeah, a lot of the Saints fans are saying that the refs screwed them out of a game. The Titans beat the Saints to go to 8-2, I think, or 9-2, something. They're right now technically they're the best team in the league, but yeah, still playing all right. I'm going to call it now. I think Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers goes down to New Orleans next year because that coach and that talent makes too much sense. I don't know how they're going to work it cap-wise because those guys are disastrous cap hits, but
been hearing some weird rumors that they've been trying to get Phillip Rivers on the phone.
Yeah, trying to draw somebody out of retirement because Jameis is gone and now you've got a shit show at quarterback down there. It's really bad.
But I don't know. Rivers has a lot of kids that he's got to take care of and make, so he probably ain't done.
Yeah, he's got to start working on his defense now.
Right.
Can we talk about Teddy Bridgewater not giving a single shit about tackling anybody on Sunday and how it was a business decision, and I'm sure people lost a lot of respect for him.
I did not see what you're talking about, so I will listen.
Oh, so I think there was a pick. I think they played. Who did the Broncos play? They played the Jets. No, they played the Eagles. The Eagles. It was Darius Slay.
Oh, that Slay return. I saw that one.
The Slay return. Yeah, Teddy Bridgewater had every chance to tackle and bring him down, and he just kindly turned his shoulder and kind of turned out of the way. And it was Teddy. You got to be better than that, dude. I know you don't want to get hurt, but He's like 190 pounds soaking wet, man. He's bigger than he is. And he got in the way of his players and didn't help. So,
oh, no.
Yeah, not a good look for Teddy Bridgewater. He was featured on the Come On Man last night. So,
oh, no. Not good. Not good at all.
I had to bring him up. I still love you, Teddy. I'm glad you're killing it in Denver. I'm glad you beat the Cowboys, too. But yeah, that's it for this week. We got the Packers coming up. We really hope for a Vikings win. This is a tough team. This is probably the toughest team they're going to face thus far of the season. Rodgers will be back, barring any COVID issues like a couple weeks ago. But I'm excited for this game. I really hope the Vikings find a way to pull it out and win.
And so what's Minnesota now? 4-5. 4-5.
They are the first team out of the playoff hunt. The Carolina Panthers, which they beat, are 5-5, I believe. They have an extra game. They haven't had their bye yet. They don't have their bye for a while, but they did beat the Cardinals, who are a top seed. So,
and the Vikings roster or the Vikings record against the NFC is fairly strong. So if they can keep victories
3 out of their 4 wins
division, they'll have a much better chance at a wild card spot in the event of a tie.
3 out of their 4 wins are NFC opponents: the Lions, the Seahawks, and the Panthers. So, got an AFC win this weekend, but you want that conference record to be strong, you want that division record to be strong, like Adam's saying. So,
well, I don't know if they're going to catch Green Bay in the division, but you never know.
I mean, they haven't played them yet. They very well could.
They have 2 head-to-head matchups. Yeah,
that can swing the division. Things. But do I think they will? No, but I do think this team has a chance. They still have a upper 40% chance to win, to get in the playoffs. So that's a good sign. That's better than like the teens or the low 20s right now. This win helped them out a lot.
But yeah, Garrett Bradbury got reactivated, so he will be ready for next week, and it'll be interesting to see what they do with him. Otherwise, as far as Vikings news, there was a few transactions, but not all of them are really ones that would be very noticeable on the field. So,
speaking of news, haven't heard anything negative, so I'm assuming he's recovering well. But shout out to Dakota Dozier. Hope you're feeling well, Betty. Don't want to see anyone have negative side effects or health concerns because of COVID, because he actually did catch COVID. So, hoping that he feels better and he has a speedy recovery.
Absolutely.
Hey, there you go. Rodgers meets Everson again. Like that a lot.
I do want to do one more quick plug here for my work over at the Viking Age. In the morning, 6 a.m. Eastern time, there will be an article going live on thevikingage.com highlighting some former players who were both Minnesota Vikings and Green Bay Packers during their careers. And it should be a fun article to get some talk about who these players really are, how they performed with each team. And hopefully it'll get people talking about the upcoming game and maybe some Packers they'd like to see on the Vikings roster in the future. Who knows?
Should be, Andrew. I'm typing that comment, asking if Harrison Smith should be back. Yeah, 10 days would be over to today or yesterday. So as long as he has 2 negative tests in a row, he is good to go. Yeah, check out Adam's work, man. This is good stuff, and I need to read more apparently because he called this win and predicted it. So,
no, I actually do that article every week about why the Vikings will win. It doesn't matter what team.
I know that you did that, but it just happened to work out this time, and we're not gonna worry about the times that it didn't.
Because I'll be doing another article this week on why the Vikings will beat the Packers, and I'll be listing some reasons, and I hope that they are good enough reasons for Minnesota to pull off the win. But I'm excited about this article this morning as a fan of, several players who came to Minnesota from Green Bay. Jan Stenerud, the one heck of a punter, Hall of Famer. He's one that people often forget. Played for both Minnesota and Green Bay. 2 Hall of Famers. Not bad. Not bad at all. If you are on my Twitch, then you're watching me right now, because I believe this video is streaming to my Twitch channel. And so there's a good chance you're there. You're probably over on YouTube or Facebook, though, which are also places where this broadcasts. I don't write very often over on undeadwalking.com, but when I do, it's usually about maybe once or twice a month, and it's usually about zombies of some sort, and I enjoy my horror shows and movies, and you should know that because if you're over on my Twitch, You've probably seen me and Mr. Smith talking about some horror movies.
Yeah, sorry, Adam. No Twitch tonight. Twitch gave us a little hiccup like Facebook did. It's because we started late, guys. That's my fault. Gave us a hiccup.
Bunch of poopy.
It's all right, though. You know what you can do on Adam's Twitch and YouTube channel? You can watch him and myself do horror movie reviews, and we will do one this week, I hope.
That'd be nice.
Another movie.
I'd like that.
We'll do some more of those. Those were super fun. Give you a little change of content here, going from football to scary movies, but
you can also follow my MN Viking zombie account over on Instagram, where you can see lots of pictures of cats, or on TikTok, where I went for some reason. And there are videos of cats set to music, which they're my cats doing things to music. So enjoy that. I might start doing a little bit more with splicing videos and doing like other stuff, but who knows? Maybe one day.
Andrew, that's a good joke. It has to be highlighted that that's a good joke. Thank you.
There've been a few times this season,
I'm going to shout out Mr. West. We're going to be working on a project together for a short film, which is really cool. That's all I'm allowed to say at the moment. But yeah, he said he was exhausted tonight. I saw some of the stuff he was making for it, so it's a lot of fun. You should check that out when it comes out. We'll obviously let you know. If you want to buy stuff from his photography website, here is the link for that. Take a screenshot, write it down, whatever you want. But you can buy Purple People Podcast merch there, as well as great photography prints that he does. He's a very good photographer, and he's got some fun, goofy designs too. But you can get all these things on items, pillowcases, shower curtains, frames and pictures, mouse pads, anything you want, phone cases. So you should check out his work and support a small business.
I'll close by talking about my little trip to Minnesota this weekend when I went to go watch the AEW pay-per-view. And if you watch that pay-per-view, you saw some Viking stuff going on. Because during the Minneapolis street fight, there was a Minnesota Vikings helmet involved, and the crowd got a nice little skull chant going. It was a lot of fun.
Nice. That is awesome. There was a guy at the Chargers game he had this Mandalorian helmet, and he had a little Baby Yoda on his shoulder and a cape. It was wonderful. I should have gotten a photo with him.
They showed him on TV, I believe.
Yeah, it was awesome. He was right in the section that I was in behind the goalpost. He was very awesome.
Oh, so you got some pretty decent seats then.
Oh, those were great. We were like maybe 11, 12 rows back in our section. It was wonderful.
Ain't nothing wrong with
caddy
that.
Corner of the goalpost. So you got to see some good stuff. I got some of the touchdowns on tape. Maybe I'll post them to the page and just have some fun for our recap of the game. But
I know we say this a lot, but if you end up going to a Vikings game and you get some pretty cool video or some nice photos, be sure to send them on over to us. We'll show some of them on the show and give you a shout out, and it'll be a lot of fun. Maybe we'll share them to our Facebook page. Who knows?
Absolutely. We'll give you credit for them, and we'd just love to see you having a good time.
Yeah, so thanks again to everyone who joined us in the chat. It's always fun to have you guys here talking because it keeps us going. And honestly, if it weren't for this live chat, it would be like back in the day when we recorded on Skype, and that sucked. That sucked real bad.
Yeah. You know, we say this probably once a month or every 2 months, but shout out to StreamYard and thank you for this this great platform to be connected with everyone in real time, because I did not start this show. I was not even thought of. I was an addition to this show, that stray cat that you feed that doesn't leave now. And even when we started, it was brutal at points.
It was.
So it's a lot of fun now. This process is a lot smoother. So.
And I know that we're not one of those Vikings podcasts that do many short videos, little bite-sized pieces. We go once a week with a nice big chunk of football. And I appreciate when you guys swing in and talk about it with us, because that's who we are. And we've been doing this, I guess, according to the number, 455 times. So if you've been with us for 455 weeks, thanks so much. If you've been with us for 1 week, thank you so much. Because we always appreciate everything, whether it's likes, shares, subscribes, comments, whatever it is. Just come and talk to us, hang out, talk about football. We love all that stuff. On that note, once again, thank you to everyone, and stay classy, Minnesota.